Welcome everybody to this session about the next generation of SUSE Linux Enterprise and what to expect there. My name is Stefan Behlert. I'm a product manager in the SUSE Linux Enterprise product line. And today I will go a little bit into the present, where we are, and then we will talk about the future and our line of thinking there. Before at the end, you will be confronted with some questions. In 1947, a French movie was released, and apologies to my French colleagues for the pronunciation. Its title was La Télévision Œil de Demain. It was about people running around, or it showed people running around, looking into small boxes, getting their news and their television on that. Does this remind anybody on something that we have nowadays? It was 1947 when this came out, so it predicted quite good what the development would be and where we would end up now 70 years later. On the other side, that movie also had some holographic news being shown inside of houses. We are not there yet. So predicting the future is always a little bit of a gambling, but we will try to do it a little bit today with the next code stream. But as mentioned, it's predicting, so not everything is set in stone. A new code stream always offers new opportunities. It allows us to think about if we want to have an evolution of the system or a revolution. Looking at what we nowadays use as operating systems, then we have a lot of workarounds because the development of new technologies is moving forward. And a lot of that stuff is designed 10, 15 years back. That doesn't mean it's bad or it's not working. A lot of workarounds and duct taped things are working. But a new code stream offers the possibility to take that duct tape and to make it better, to produce something that allows us even better to do what we want to do. But before we look into changes, let's look where we come from. SUSE Linux Enterprise is a product family, a big one. It has products for nearly all purposes that you can think of. From the general purpose operating system, the SUSE Linux Enterprise server, through the high performance products up to database related / for SAP applications products. Everything is there. Also on the management side, to handle various different types of operating systems from different vendors, all there. Architecture-wise, yes, that's limited to a selected number of architectures, but it's the most important ones that are there. And everything is running on a variety of underlying platforms from the desktop through the cloud to the edge. How did we get there? Well, if you look, the earliest operating systems were really monolithic downloads that you had. You downloaded an ISO image, you used that ISO image, you installed it, that's it. That was followed by a modular approach where you had things that were put on top of that monolithic enterprise server download. Extensions like live patching, containers, modules like public cloud, everything that you could think of. Moving further, we developed and split it up, that monolithic download, into various modules where you could use parts of the system or ignore parts of the system and not download them if you didn't need it, where you could combine them to different systems for different use cases and applications. But let's have a look at the same time how the software platforms developed and evolved. Some of you may remember the centralized mainframes, the big machines that fill up whole rooms. They still exist, but they were replaced in a lot of cases with personal computers, with client server modules, um, where you had much, much smaller machines. That was followed by virtualization, by containerization of the systems, where you suddenly even had smaller bits and pieces that you used. And then, of course, the cloud, where you suddenly were not on-prem or not only on one machine, but distributed. And what will be the next generation bringing? Quantum computing? Holographic computing? Honestly, I don't know. And it will be interesting to see what will come. But keep in mind, from all of these various evolution stages, all of them, they still exist in parallel. And in a lot of cases, 2 or 3 of them are in the same company used, in the same server room, in the same environment, or even from the same application. So when we think about the future, we need to consider that, because the future is what someone doubted, the unknown country. You don't know how it looks like. You have to speculate and you have to be prepared when you went into it. So how will the next generation from SUSE Linux Enterprise look like? Honestly, that's not a question for us. That's a question for you, because we are looking forward for your feedback here. What do you expect? What will be your use cases? What type of workloads do you want to run then? Please let us know what you intend to do. Our time frame that we have planned is currently end of 22, beginning of 23. We are not 100% committed to that date. It might be a little bit changing, but I would say it's more likely 23 than 22. Because we don't want something fast, we want something good that helps you to do your job. And of course, if you ask me what will be the scope of the next generation, everything new, disruptive changes. Let's do more revolution than evolution, but not forgetting the past. We don't want that. And we will not forget the past. We will not forget the installations that are out there that need to be still working, that need to be served for years. Nevertheless, we want to extend what we have, our adaptable OS, our adaptable product family. We want to allow you to have any life cycle on any platform, be it fast moving, agile development, be it slower moving databases or other things. Everything between the mainframe on-prem up to the cloud off-prem or on-prem. The next generation OS will not so much be an OS, but more a kind of a platform that is optimized to be used for developers, for operators, where we help to fulfill your needs, your requirements, security, sorry, compliance, and support requirements. Imagine that all those are fulfilled and the developer just takes what he needs, not thinking a lot about the framework he has to adhere to, but rather taking and being inside of the corporate strategies that he has to fulfill. And of course, we want to have that also being designed in a way that you don't have to worry about it. You should not worry about the platform or the OS that is below. You should worry about getting your job done. And that's our goal, making it possible that you get your job done, that your applications that you create, that you have running, where it's important for you to get the business done, that this is possible without a headache about the OS or anything in between the hardware and your application. Let's think a little bit ahead. Let's dream. Let's imagine. How could something like that look like? The answer is not easy. But it's also a little bit something very old, an old concept. Let's imagine a base OS that handles the hardware enablement. Let's imagine an application layer where your jobs run, your application, and something in between that allows you to switch a base OS or an application layer without having the need to exchange the other. Something that works like kind of a glue in between. We want that base and that application layer to be independently exchangeable. So you can, for example, enable easy new hardware without having to touch your application layer. That you don't have to worry about your application layer if you change your hardware. A lot of applications are certified, assigned to work with a specific environment. But what if you have to switch your hardware? Do you have to stay on the same OS? Do you have to stay on the same kernel? We don't think so. We think it's possible to not do that, to exchange the hardware and still be able to run the certified stuff that you need. But this is all easy. What you also need is an ecosystem around that supports you, that helps you to customize, to build, to deploy what you create. All the software your developers create needs to be built, needs to be deployed. We have a lot of tools for that inside the products, outside the products, the OBS, the SCC. All these tools are helpful, and there are many tools around. But you also need to know what's inside of what you deploy. If you create a container, what's inside? Are you complying to your requirements? Are you fulfilling your certification needs? Are every packages, every piece of software that you have inside in line with the requirements you are put on by your legal department? We want all that to be possible without thinking about it. That you simply can stay inside the lines of the business that you have. That you can simply create a container, a virtual machine, an application. Easy, without thinking about, am I compliant? Just do it. Developers sometimes stay for a long time on the same development stack, on the same Python language version, on the same Perl version, or they switch very fast, going to a new version because it fulfills their needs much better, allows to produce better applications. And whatever comes out of it, whatever they do, in quite some cases, you have applications that need to be supported, that need to run for a longer time. Imagine you could do that. Imagine you get the specific version of the programming language that you need, and you use it, and you're able to get it certified, to get it supported. And then you give it to the production, to the operators, and it's still supported for the time where you need that support, be it a week, be it several years. Just imagine what would be possible if we think forward, if we dream a little bit, and think about where it will help you to do things easy. But how could that look like? Let's dare a small glance into the future. Imagine a common code base that goes to version 2, where we create a platform that is the base for the various products. Think about a platform that exists where you use the tool ecosystem that we have and create the SLEs for you. Imagine on one server you have the standard SLEs running with all the tools, packages, applications that are provided. And then you have a second server. They will say, this has a little bit of special requirements. I need a different Samba, a different kernel on that. Otherwise, I can't do my job. Imagine you can get that from the same platform with the same tools from the same provider and support it. Imagine you don't have just a SLES, but you have my SLES, your SLES. And the next machine, maybe that's more for a container environment, for running virtual machines. And you put that together completely different from the rest, but still based on the same common code base with maybe the same kernel, the same OpenSSL, the same certifications being available. Just a little bit of different booting system. And all supported, as mentioned, inside of your environment where you have the control, but still can choose. And where you don't have to download and to use stuff that you don't need to do your daily business. Imagine you create a product, some software for your appliance, and you use a package inside. Let's take Samba as an example. And we provide you with version 1 of that Samba. I know we are further down on the line on the version here. It's an example. So let's imagine we have version 1 of that product. And you provide your product with it, your internal product. And you need support for that version 1. And that's good. You get this because we have it in the main line. We have it in our products. Even if version 1.1 comes out, you still have support for version 1. Well, at one point in time, upstream decides to go with a second version. But you still can get version 1 and you can get it supported because we have compartmentalized it. We've put it into something that you can use for a longer time and where you can get support for it. You don't need to switch to version 2, which has maybe a different API, which has maybe requirements that you don't want, where you maybe have features that you don't need. But you stay on your version 1, which is reliable. It's the old version, but it's still getting its updates, its support. Now imagine time goes on and version 3 comes out. And you suddenly see, oh, for my next appliance, which I built, that version 3 would be really great. Version 1, yeah, I still need it for my older stuff because that will not go away for a few years or months or weeks. Then you can get both. You get support for version 1 and version 3. Why not? And version 2? Well, forget about it. It's not of interest for you, so no support for that. But version 3, which you need, that has support. And now imagine you're getting to us. You tell us, hey, it's version 3 that I need. I don't need version 2 supported. Imagine the answer is, yes, we are glad to help you here. That is where we want to go and where we hope we can help you to enable your business, to make your business much more smoothly running and not worrying about which version will I have to ask for and adapt my application, my project in the next few weeks and months. Of course, there are much more areas where we are looking into. There's conceptual refinement of a simple question. What does as a service look for a specific component, for a database, for a web server, for support as a service? We are looking into command separation, snap, flatpak, containers, wormholes, whatever there are. You have heard I used the word compartmentalization simply because there are so many things where you can box things, where you can create your bricks, where you build upon. We want that to be able and we want to be transparent. We want to be transparent to be used, to separate what you do depending on your needs and requirements. And of course, there are much more things where we look into from the developer side up to repeatable builds even after years, when you just want to exchange one small piece and have the rest still being available. But the most important part is something where I don't know the answer to. What do you expect? What do you need? If you are one of the lucky guys who have already talked to us and brought up their expectations, then of course the answer is clear to me and to us. But there are hundreds and thousands of you outside that have not talked to us yet. We were looking out for your feedback, and we hope we get some of it in this conference here. So please give us your feedback. We will take it, we want it, and we will use it to shape the next code stream. Be part of shaping a code stream to your needs. Please use the regular contacts that you know to contact us. Use the chat for the session. Contact us separately through email, through our webpage, whatever means there are. We are happy to hear from you, and we hope you will use the opportunity to shape the future together with us. And with that, thank you very much for listening. Please dream about where we can go with a new code stream and let us know. Thank you very much.